Hi everyone, this is Claudine Helmuth and I'm here today to show you how to print and cut my Retro Oven Cupcake Box Kit using the Silhouette Studio Designer Edition software. So you can see here I am in the Studio Designer Edition of the software. Now these SVG files will only work with the Designer Edition. The regular software that comes with the machine won't open SVGs. But this upgrade is really worth it because it allows you to do so many other things in the software other than just opening SVGs. So to get started, we first need to change our size of our paper. Right now it's showing us 12 by 12. So over here on the right, I'm going to change it to 8.5 by 11 because that's the size of paper that I'm going to be using. And portrait mode is okay, so I'm just going to leave that. Then up here, I'm going to click this little button up here with these three little marks on it, and that's the registration marks window. I'm going to click show registration marks. I always like to make sure that they're showing so that I can tell where my files need to be so that they will be cut. You're going to want to make sure that your images are within this red line. And then you can see out here this gray line. That is my printer margin. So you also want to make sure that your registration marks fall within your printer margin so that they are not cut off when you go to print your image, because otherwise your machine won't know where to cut. Now let's get some images on here. So I'm going to go to File and Merge. And I'm going to show you using the pink oven. Now all 6 colors of the oven come with this kit, but just for today's demonstration, I'm going to show you with the pink oven. Now in the SVG kit, you'll see that there's a left side of the back of the oven and a right side of the back of the oven. And that's because of those printer margins that I just showed you. I needed to break the back of the oven up into 2 pieces so that way it would print with the registration marks and not get cut off. So I'm going to select the left side first and get that into place. We'll put that down here. And then I'm going to go File, Merge again, and I'm going to choose the right side of the oven. So there's plenty of room, as you can see here in the page margins. If you want to play around with trying to get even more elements on, you can also rotate your elements. So for example, down here with this left side of the oven, I could click on it and then go over here to the rotate window. It looks like a little circle arrow. And then I could click rotate clockwise by 90 degrees. And then you can see that gives us just that little bit more room, so I can make some adjustments there. That looks great. Okay, so now there's just a couple more things we need to do before we're ready to print and cut. I am going to go to my Cut Styles window, and that's this little scissors here with the little red line in it. And then I'm going to go Edit, Select All. And I'm going to go over here to my Cut Styles window and I'm going to choose the word cut. Okay, so now you see all of the cut lines are showing up. It's great. We've got the fold lines, we've got the outside. There are these red boxes around each of the images. And that's because that's the ping image that's at the bottom. And then the cut lines are the vector cut lines that I've drawn on top. So we want to unselect these boxes that are in the back so that way just our machine isn't cutting unnecessarily. It won't ruin your file if you accidentally forget to select them not to be cut. So don't worry, but it just will save your machine some extra cutting. So here's how we do it. While everything's selected, and if you've accidentally clicked away, you will need to go again, Edit, Select All. I'm going to click over here outside one of the images. I'm going to right click and choose Ungroup. And I'm going to do that until it goes gray. You'll notice that the word will go gray. See there? So that means I'm all done ungrouping. Now, you want to be extra careful not to move anything. Everything is ungrouped, so our image could move slightly outside of our cut lines and then it won't cut right. So you want to be extra careful not to move anything once you've ungrouped it. I'm just going to very carefully click this back rectangle, and then I'm going to click no cut. So you can see that went away. And then over here, I'm going to very carefully click that one and choose no cut. And you can see that went away. And if you wanted to at this time, you could go ahead and save your file as a Silhouette Studio file, so that way it's all set up for you. The next time you open it, it will be just like how it is now. So now we are all ready to print and cut. And so to print and cut, all we need to do is go over here to this little icon of the Silhouette machine with the letter A, and that is the Send to Silhouette button. So I'm just going to click on that. And now we're going to have some prompts. And I want you to notice here how our mat is set up and then how the paper is set up on the mat. So when we apply our paper to the mat, we're going to want it to look exactly like this with our paper over on the left-hand side. Let's follow these prompts. We need to print our image so that then we can cut it out. So I'm going to click there to print. And then I'm just going to choose print. So we can see here that it has all printed out, and you can see all 3 of the registration marks. Since I'm using the Silhouette machine, this is what my registration marks look like. Your machine, your registration marks may be slightly different. And then I just wanted to show you the type of paper that I'm using. I like to use the Staples Photo Supreme matte paper. It's a great weight. It's not too heavy. It's not too light. It's also not very expensive, but it's perfect sturdiness to be able to hold your cupcakes and sweet treats. So now we are ready to put this onto our cutting mat. So this is my cutting mat for my Silhouette machine, and you want to make sure that you line it up so that it looks just like it does on your screen. And I usually take a minute or a couple seconds to get it lined up as straight as possible, and then you're just going to press it into place. And now that we've applied our paper to our mat, we can continue to the cutting page. And then it's got some different prompts here about loading it into the machine. And so now I'm just going to feed it into my machine. And then once you've loaded it, press continue. It's asking us to detect the registration marks before cutting, and we definitely want to do that so our machine will know where to cut. So I'm going to click detect automatically. And now it has detected the registration marks. You can see here it says detection of registration marks was successful, which is great. And then here you have your settings. I've got cardstock, so that's all set and ready to go. You can also change your settings by clicking on that to change your paper settings. And then once you're all ready, you're going to click cut. So here it is all out of the machine and finished cutting. So now we can just remove our paper. And I just want to show you this quickly. There will be excess color around your image, and that's because I added a bleed to all of my SVG images, because printers and cutters can each shift slightly, just a little bit one direction or another, so that way you're not getting any white paper edges showing. And then to remove the rest of your images from your mat, I like to use these little spatulas. They're very handy in getting the smaller pieces off, and I even like to use them for the larger pieces. And what's great about this is it's already got its score lines included, so we can just go ahead and fold along the score lines. And then to put the back of the oven together, you could apply double-sided tape. I have a tape gun here, but you could just use regular old double-sided tape, will work just fine. And then I'm just going to apply it to this tab L, and then line it up very carefully with my score line to make sure everything's straight and that it's even at the top as well as the bottom, and then press to secure. Now I've got a couple extra little tips to share with you, how to add text to the cupcake flags, and then I'm going to show you how to put it all together so you will have a complete finished oven. So what I'm working on is a 12 by 12 sheet, so it's okay for my mat to stay 12 by 12 here in the page settings. And what's great about the cupcake tray is it is a fully vector SVG file, so there's no print and cutting. So you will just be cutting it on whatever scrapbook paper or scrap paper that you have around that you want to cut. It's fun because you can use pattern paper and things like that to make your cupcake tray even cuter. So here you can see the cupcake tray. And now all we need to do is we want to again turn on the registration marks, because even though we're not printing and cutting, we still need to make sure that we're staying within these registration marks on our 12 by 12 sheet of paper. And of course, if you wanted to add more than one cupcake tray, what's great about working on a 12 by 12 sheet of paper is you can fit, I think, up to 3, maybe even 4 onto this. You can just click on it and right click and choose copy, and then right click again and choose paste. And then you can move it to wherever you like, and you could do that again, or you could do the file, merge, and bring in your file again. So I'm just going to work with these two here because I'm using a piece of scrapbook paper. So now we are ready to go to the cut styles window, which is this little scissors with the line in it. And we can go edit, select all, and then we will just choose cut. And here you can see that all the lines are selected to cut, and we don't have to, like with the print and cut images, we don't have to ungroup and unselect anything. They're just ready to go right this way. So we can go ahead and send it to our silhouette. So I'm going to click that. And then we're going to skip printing because this is not a print and cut. We're just going to be cutting. And then I'll follow the prompts here. We're going to skip the registration mark detection. And then we're ready just to press cut, and it will cut our files out of our scrapbook paper for us beautifully. So now the cupcake trays have finished cutting, so let's pop them out. And what's really fun is because you can use scrapbook paper, you can use all kinds of different patterns. And then you even have these leftover circles here that you could use for something else. So everything is removed from my mat, and you can see the cute little cupcake tray there. And it's already got the score lines already in it. So these are so easy to put together. All you need to do is just fold it up along all the score lines. And then we're just going to apply some double-sided tape just like we do to the oven. And then you're just going to take the edges and match them up to each other. So we've just got one more thing to do, and then we are ready to put our ovens together. So what I want to show you is how to make no cut text in a print and cut file, so that way we can write on our cute little cupcake flags and have them say things without the text being cut out. So what I want to do first, since I'm going to be printing and cutting, is go to my page settings and choose letter, just like we did earlier. I'm also going to go to my registration marks area and check show registration marks. I just like that to show up so I can see what I'm doing. I'm going to go file, merge, and I'm going to grab the aqua cupcake flag. And then I'm going to just move it up here to the top. Now let me zoom in for you. And you can see here, this just looks pretty much like a rectangle. That's the bleed on the file. I'm going to zoom in even more. Okay, there we go. So that is the bleed on the file. I just made it a rectangle, but if you look very closely, you can see that this is a cute little cupcake flag, and right down the middle are the cut lines for the fold of the center of the cupcake flag. So we need to make sure our text goes from here all the way over to here. Okay, so to add text, first we are going to click our text styles window, and then we are going to click over here on this little text button, and we're just going to click on our work surface and type what we would like to be in there. Then I'm going to click this arrow button, the select tool, and I'm going to click away from my text so that it deselects it, but then I'm going to click back so that it selects the text again. I'm going to hold my shift key so that that way the text stays in proportion, and shrink my text. And you want to check it, you want to make sure that it's fitting in your cupcake flag. Now you may not be able to see in the video, but you'll see when I turn on the cut lines that where the edges of the cupcake flag are. Oops, don't want to move the cupcake flag, just want to move the text. Okay, so I can see that that is in there. I've got actually a little bit more space, so I'm going to move that like that. Just make it a little bit bigger. Okay, so that looks pretty good in there. Now I want to select my text and I'm going to go to the paint bucket and I'm going to choose the fill color as white. That looks great. And then I'm going to do right click and copy, and then right click again and paste. And I'm going to move that over to the other side. And just a quick extra tip, I zoomed in really, really close here so that you could see it. You can see a tiny color line around all of my white letters. Now I want my letters to be totally white with no stroke. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on both of them, and I just press shift while I'm clicking to select both of them. Then I'm going to click my line color window, and I'm just going to make sure to click white, and there you can see the stroke has disappeared. But now we need to make sure to tell it not to cut out all of these letters out of our flag. So we're going to go to the Cut Styles window. You can see here the text already has the red lines around it. So what we're going to do is we're going to select both sides of the text, and then we're going to select No Cut. So that way the text will print but not cut. So now we need to tell our flag where to cut as well. So I'm going to click the area of the flag and I'm going to choose cut. And again, we have that big square box that's also going to cut out. And just so that that way our machine isn't unnecessarily cutting things that it doesn't need to, let's tell that part not to cut. So I'm going to click on it and choose ungroup, just like we have before. And now you see our text disappeared, but don't worry about that just yet. I'm going to click this and I'm going to choose no cut. Then I'm going to click it again and I'm going to choose Object, Arrange, Send to Back. And there you can see our text comes back. So if that ever happens to you, that's an easy way to fix it. So now our little cupcake flag is ready to print and cut. And of course you would want to fill up your whole sheet with a whole bunch of wonderful cupcake flags ready to go. But when you are ready, you're just going to follow the same steps that we did before. You're going to click the Send to Silhouette button and you're going to follow all of the prompts. So on all of my printables, I have the lettered tabs being the ones that get tape or glue. And what I'm going to use for that is my tape gun. So all I've done is gone straight down because those are all lettered tabs. And then I'm going to just trim in here where the tape has run into the empty area, because then that will fold nicely. And then down here are the lettered tabs. The up here by the oven door are not lettered tabs because that is what makes the door open and close, so we don't want to glue those shut. Okay, so now let's start assembling it. And here we've got the back and the sides of the oven, so you can see how that works. And we need to attach this letter tab A to the center back. And then we're going to apply tab K up here to the top of the oven, like that. And you just want to make sure you get those folds lined up here, these folds, and then this fold lined up nicely, and press it down. So now I've got one big piece. It doesn't even fit all on camera, but you can see it's like one big piece. It's going to start to make sense here in 1 second when we flip it over. And I'm going to pull in these tabs, and I'm going to bring the side of the oven up like this, and I'm going to press it down to the table so I know I've got it nice and even, and then I'm going to release that tab, and then I'm going to do the same over here. So now you can see we've got the bottom, the back, the sides like that, and then this is obviously going to be the front door, so that's easy. We don't need to worry about that right now. Now we're going to do the top of the oven. So we want to get these folded in and just press to right there so that it's nice and close. And then same thing to the other side. I like to do each level of the oven. So get it nice and even. There we go. And then this side, you kind of sometimes need to bend these away because they have adhesive on them. They can get a little bit tricky. So now we're going to do this part of the oven. Let me make sure that they're both, there we go. So let me focus for you so you can see. So just press that in and then press down. And same thing on the other side. And then press down. So that's right there. So you can see how that's going. And then lift this part up. And you want to get it nice and even with the edge as much as possible. And same thing on this side. Okay. So now you can see that's all together. Then you can just add your cupcake. So I've added one of the included cupcake flags to this cupcake, and you just slide that into your cupcake holder and then slide it inside, and then go ahead and close the door. And you could add one of these little circles to hold your little front door closed, but this door secures nice and tightly, at least with this paper from Staples that I was using, so I don't think that you're going to have to use that. And don't forget, you can also cut out the window and add a little piece of acetate there if you want to see the cupcake inside. And as a finishing touch, let me just get out all the cute little colors of the ovens here so you can see them all. As a finishing touch, you can fill out one of the little oven mitts that come and add that to your oven if you want a little gift tag to go on there as well. So I hope that you really like these retro ovens that I have come up with, and you can find them in my shop with all of my other printable kits.